Every day the world continues to change and trends sometimes disappear entire companies. When a company does not adapt to changes, then it runs the risk of being left behind and ends up in bankruptcy. The same thing is happening in television, and with the new digital platforms everything has changed. Not only has the format in which we watch our series and movies changed, but also what we watch has changed. I know this may not seem like a Power Rangers video, but we must understand that the franchise is still a television show and everything that happens can affect this fantasy universe. Even though the franchise has many fans, in the end it is still a business, and if this does not leave profits to the company that owns the rights, then there is no point in continuing. When the franchise started in the United States, it was a total success, and at that time the sale of the toys was incredible. Everything that had to do with Power Rangers was instantly profitable, and the TV show started to have a lot of episodes. That is why the first season is the series with more episodes in the history of the franchise, and the success that the series was having was impressive. We must remember that at that time there were no digital platforms, and the internet was beginning to expand, but it was not for entertainment. This meant that the only option for visual entertainment was television, since the other entertainment was radio, board games, and going out to play in the parks. If you wanted to sit at home and have some visual entertainment, you could only watch television. I know there were some video game consoles, but many people could not afford to buy one of those consoles, and they were not as important as they are today. Now there are many options to have visual entertainment without having to leave your home, and this is where the downfall of many franchises like Power Rangers begins. Let's be honest, the most important thing that this franchise has is the sale of toys. This is what it lives from, and this is the main purpose it has always had. Since the beginning of the franchise, a lot of money was generated with the sales of toys, and that is why today the owners of the franchise are Hasbro, a company that is dedicated to selling toys, and obviously, they have begun to invest heavily in the franchise. Hasbro's thinking has always been to lift the franchise so that it can begin to generate more sales in toys and begin to get the real profits that has always generated Power Rangers for all companies. Hasbro has been so smart in their plan that the toys they started to create to get more sales were those of Mighty Morphin, and it is no secret that the first series has always been the most famous. The main strategy is that the original fans of this series are now adults and already generate their own money to be able to buy collectible toys. This is why we can notice that the Lighting Collection series has sold intensely, especially all the Mighty Morphin characters, and all these toys have very good details. Obviously, they are not perfect toys, and they don't have incredible details like other toys that cost a lot of money. We must be fair and understand that if you pay around $25, then we can't expect to have a perfect action figure. Still, we must accept that they are very good figures with many excellent details. However, there are other Mighty Morphin toys that are for the purpose of play and not for collecting. These toys have not sold as well as the others. All of this has a reason, and specifically this is what may bring the biggest problem. As I have already told you, the main purpose of the franchise is to sell toys, but if this doesn't happen, then there are no big profits. Even though a lot of old fans have been buying a lot of collectible action figures, still, this is not enough to keep a franchise on its feet. A few years ago, we could go to any big store, and we could find a lot of Power Rangers action figures, but now everything is different. Now, when you go to a store to get your action figures, they are gone, and it's not because they are all sold out, but rather because they are no longer being brought in for sale. This is because if the store realizes that a certain product is not selling, then they don't want to have any more of that product, and this is obvious since they are not going to have something in the store that is not selling. This is something that does not apply to all stores, as maybe some of you go to your nearest store and maybe you find several action figures. This does not mean that it is always a good thing, because it may also mean that no one is buying this product and that is why it is still there. This is the same thing that is happening in comic book sales, as I have visited several comic book stores and they have very few Power Rangers comics. Even the closest store I have, which is the place I buy all my comics, the owner told me that I am the customer that buys the most Power Rangers comics, and I can assure you that I have only bought several. He also told me that he had to stop bringing Power Rangers figures because no one was buying them and that generated losses for the business. We must understand that Power Rangers was created for a young audience, and today they no longer play outside with their toys. Today, video games have replaced many things, including television, toys, and sports. Every day, when we walk by the parks, we notice that they are empty and online video games continue to grow. This has caused toy sales to continue to decline, and franchises like Power Rangers that are sustained by these sales are at risk of being cancelled. The franchise must start looking for another way to generate money, and the worst thing is that they are not taking advantage of the video game opportunity. There are already several Power Rangers video games, but they all have the same style and they have not looked for a way to create something that is truly entertaining. The idea of having an open-world video game where you can grow as a hero and defeat enemies in story form has always been running around the internet. We are still hoping that with the start of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury separate from the Sentai, that they can start creating new things that will help lift the franchise. Since the series started appearing on Netflix, we have been able to notice the change. Since being such an important platform, then the series has a chance to rise again. Nowadays, superhero series and movies are very normal. This is why we have been saying for a long time that the franchise needs to shift to a more adult audience to start seeing a change in its earnings. If you think the franchise can last for many more years, like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers series.